Bold predictions. What did you predict in August that you claimed you would back with your own hard-earned money? Well, we're starting off on a good note here because Florida State made someone a winner. Austin, to be exact, said Florida State will finish with more than 8 wins. You know what? I'm going to stop it there for the sake of Austin. He just said they're going to win more than 8 games. As a matter of fact, FSU went 9-3 regular season, 10-3 with the bowl win. Really good year for Mike Norvell. And they had those back-to-back-to-back losses to Wake, NC State, and Clemson right there in the middle of the season by 10 points, 2 points, and 6 points, respectively. Florida State's trending in the right direction. Needless to say, we're going to talk about them more Thursday night. There's a little spoiler for you down there in Tallahassee. I had Bryant McFadden texting me last night. BMAC is not a lengthy texter. So he sends me April 5th. Excuse me. He sends me a date. We're live. I can't backtrack over that. So if I leaked information, I'm sorry. But he sends me a date. And it could mean anything. But for him to be sending me that date at this very moment in time, I know he probably means that's the FSU spring game, and I need to be down there in Tallahassee. And for the record, I may very well be down there because I'm excited for meaningful games to be happening in Doak again. But in the meantime, I put a 7 on this prediction. So I didn't think it was the boldest prediction in the world. I was on board. I was cautiously on board. And when they won that LSU game to start the year, then I was really on board. All right, this other one was doomed to failure, but we acknowledge it anyway. Brennan said Bama and Georgia will each have a loss during the month of September. This, of course, was not going to happen. Now, one of them could have lost a game. Remember, Georgia opened against Oregon, which was a splattering, but at the time, the line was like in the teens. So Georgia, they, of course, go undefeated. Their margins of victory, by the way, week 1, 2, 3, 4 were 46, 33, 41, and 17. That pesky Kent State team pushed Georgia a little bit in Athens, but otherwise, blowouts and bloodbaths. Now, Texas did take Alabama to the limit, but for this to come true, we needed both of them to lose, and neither of them lost games. Bama didn't lose until third week of October, and Georgia didn't lose at all. So they made it very, very academic there. Now, they're also very healthy at the beginning of the year. This is not a wise way to spend your money on predictions. Next up, we got a good old-fashioned half and half for Joseph. Notre Dame, says Joseph, will lose at Ohio State. Check. That's the half and half part. Unfortunately, the prediction continues. They're going to lose at Ohio State and then run the table to get in the playoff. That's that echo. Since we can't do it live, I sometimes add my own reverb. Notre Dame didn't make the playoff. Spoiler alert for those of you who recorded the end of the season and haven't watched it yet. Notre Dame does not make the playoff, but they did lose to Ohio State. Spoiler alert for those of you who haven't watched any of the season. And I guess if you needed this prediction to start off the best way possible, you need them to lose competitively at Ohio State. Well, they did. They were competitive. They led kind of late, and then they didn't lead, and they lost. The problem, friends, was Marshall waiting in the wings. And they lost to Marshall 26-21, and frankly, it wasn't as close as the final score indicated. Sometimes people say it's not even close, and it wasn't even close. This one kind of wasn't even close. And at that point, people went from asking whether Notre Dame can rebound and make the playoff to, is Notre Dame going to make a bowl game? Well, they got it right. They finished 9-4, so they got things right, and they finished 9-4. But yeah, this one wasn't going to happen. Now, here's what I will say for this prediction. If, it's a big if I could take that version of Notre Dame that we saw play Clemson and run for, what was it, Jesse? They ran for like 842 yards against Clemson. If I could take that and I could bottle it up and duplicate it times 10 or 11, Notre Dame would have been in the playoff. Yes, sirree. But we could not do that. That was a one-time only for the old Irish this season. And so, as a result, we got to settle for 9-4. But we always have the Clemson game, don't we? Moving forward. Ooh, this is a bad one. Frank, whose profile picture is a hot dog, mustard only, says Brian Kelly is overhyped. And LSU was nothing special last year. They won't be anything special this year. They won't even make a bowl game. Frank hails from Conway, Arkansas. Well, it's a bad night in Conway. Because not only did LSU make a bowl game, They did so after winning the West, beating Alabama, and playing for the SEC championship. LSU was bowl eligible as of October 22nd, and that's with them losing in week 1 to LSU. They still punched their bowl eligibility ticket before Halloween. They were 9-3 on the season. They were 9-4 after Atlanta, and they were 10-4 after doing some completely and utterly illegal things to Purdue in the bowl game. So this was a bad prediction. Here's the worst part of it all. I put a 6 on this, on the boldness scale. And I don't really know why. I do know why. Because when I looked at LSU's schedule and we looked at the difficulty factor, it was going to be nip and tuck. I think the over-under win total for them was either 6 or 7. So this wasn't a wild prediction. It's just the way it turned out makes it look wild. So you know what? I have to defend us. Paper pop. Since I was kind of complicit in this, I have to defend us. I remember getting into it over on the Go 24/7 board, and actually some of the LSU fans kind of agreed with me, and it took me by surprise. And as it turns out, you guys should have drugged me because I was wrong. All right, NC State. This one was a very interesting prediction. Listen to what Alex said. He said, NC State's going to be the real deal this year, and they will finish with the best record of all teams in both Carolinas. So, I asked producer Jesse, how many Power 5 teams are in the Carolinas? Can you name that off the top of your head, by the way? I'm going to give you 7 seconds. There are 6 of them. And it is Clemson, North Carolina, NC State, South Carolina, Wake, and Duke. Carry the 5. Yeah, that's 6. Okay. This didn't turn out well. NC State finished behind Clemson, Duke, North Carolina, and South Carolina. Now, here's the wild part. They didn't finish behind South Carolina. They actually had the same record, and the same record as Wake. So you could either look at it as they tied for 4th or they were tied for last. Whatever makes you sleep better at night. I just want to tell you this. This is burying the lead, which inexplicably is spelled L-E-D-E. Whatever. There was reason to believe in this because I think that there was, Jesse, wasn't it one Power 5 team that was returning quarterback, OC, DC, and head coach in the entire ACC, and it was NC State? Only Carolina school. It sounded so much better when fact checkers ruin everything. So, okay, in the Carolinas, there was only one team that was returning all of those pieces. They had Devin Leary at quarterback. We had watched him throw out at Elite 11 because, some of the counselors are current players. And so, we were feeling really good about NC State. Here's the prop bet. What if I told you that all 6 of them were going to win 8 games or more? That's the wild part. Somebody's got to miss bowl eligibility. You got 6 of them over there. Someone's got to be the underachiever. And as it turns out, no, not really. Clemson wins the ACC, but even if you're last in the Carolinas, you're winning 8 games. It's just amazing. NC State, it looked good on paper, man. They were going to be a dog at Clemson. They were going to be favored in the rest of their games, and it did not work out. Oh well.
Guys, thanks for watching Late Kick. Make sure to leave a comment. I love interacting with you. But most of all, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. That's how we keep all of this free.